Hey friends, welcome to the Guitar Max channel. And I hate to say this, but this video is essentially a warning for anyone who is about to buy a new guitar or even considering buying a new guitar. Here's what it all comes down to. If you are thinking about buying a new guitar, you should buy it now. Don't wait to buy it because the prices of new guitars are going to go way, way up. And in this video, I'm going to explain why that is. Okay, so as a professional guy who plays guitar on YouTube, I stay up on all the latest details and behind-the-scenes information in the industry. I have recently had several conversations with guitar industry people about their forecasts for the guitar market. And I'm going to share with you this insider information and also go over a new article that ties in with what this is all about. And overall here, and I hate to give you guys bad news, but there are going to be some tough times ahead for budget-minded musicians. Okay guys, so we'll get right into this. I've got the article up here, but real quick guys, if you enjoy videos like this and staying up on all the latest news in the guitar universe and you have not already subscribed, please consider subscribing right now. Okay, so first, let me tell you about some of the insider information that I have received recently. Now, I'm not going to name names here, but I can tell you that the people I've been talking to and the companies that I've been talking to, these are big names in the industry. They're known companies and they sell a lot of guitars. And there are really two big pieces of bad news that I've run across. The first one is that the shipping and transportation costs have gotten astronomically high. And I'm not just talking about shipping guitars themselves, but even shipping the materials you need to build guitars. And when I say the costs have gotten high, I'm talking 4 to 10 times higher than what they were 2 to 3 years ago. Let me give you an example. Let's say a company has their guitar cases made in South Korea. Okay, there's a lot of guitar and guitar-related manufacturing that happens in South Korea. So it used to be that getting a shipping container brought over from overseas to the US would cost maybe $2,000 to $4,000. Now, that's not for the product, that's just the transportation cost, to get like a big shipping container full of these guitar cases, as an example. Well, now that same shipping container, just the transportation cost, might cost as high as $30,000. Now, here's the real kicker. That was before the recent crisis that has pushed up gas prices. So those shipping costs, which were already high, are just going to continue to get higher. So think about this. The vast majority of guitars that cost less than, say, $1,500 are manufactured overseas. And I'm not just talking about China, I'm talking about China, South Korea, Japan, Indonesia. Most production guitars today are made overseas. And even guitars that are manufactured here in the United States, some of the materials that they use to make those guitars, some of the materials are made overseas. So domestic guitars are not going to be immune to this problem. Okay, so a huge jump in shipping and transportation costs, that is problem number one that I've been hearing a lot about lately. Now, the other thing is a lot of unhappy employees. Now, I can't say this applies to all companies, but some companies here in the US have had a big problem recently with people quitting because they are being asked to work harder, longer hours without any increase in pay. And this is happening because the company is trying to offset those big increases in shipping costs. So they're trying to not increase the price of the products, of the guitars, too much. So they're trying to get more out of the employees to make up for those high shipping costs. Okay, so now we've got to take a look at this article that I have up here because this just directly ties in with everything we're talking about here. So here we go. This is from Business Insider. It says, Russia's war on Ukraine could triple ocean shipping rates to $30,000 per container, expert says. And guys, keep in mind, this article was on March 1st, so we're almost 3 weeks after that. And a lot of the stuff that they're predicting in this article has come true. So let's take a closer look here. It says here, Russia's invasion into Ukraine is likely to send ocean and air shipping rates skyrocketing at a time when the global supply chain is still reeling from the pandemic. Ocean rates could double or triple due to the invasion, according to Glenn Kopke, the general manager of network collaboration at the supply chain consultancy firm For Kites. He told the New York Times that shipping rates could surge from $10,000 per 40-foot container to $30,000, while air freight rates could jump even higher. It goes on here. Since the pandemic started, ocean shipping rates have hit all-time highs. Kopke warned the war could be yet another blow to the global supply chain. He noted that while the shipping industry hasn't hit its peak season, quote, companies are ramping up for summer volume, and that's going to have a major impact on our supply chain. Now, they go on here to talk about some specific details about how this invasion is causing all of these issues or making them worse. And I won't go into all of that stuff here. I'm more concerned with the outcome of all this rather than why it's happening. But if you look down at the end of the article here, there's two important points right at the end here. Additional transportation costs will likely be passed on to customers. Okay, we can expect that for sure. And then the conflict could send gas and food prices higher at a time when inflation in the U.S. is already at its highest level since the 1980s. So think about this, guys. We've got this terrible combination of things all coming together at once to really screw up the guitar industry and drive prices through the roof. We've got labor shortages. We've got a massive increase in the cost of shipping and transportation. And on top of that, inflation in the United States is really terrible as well. Okay, now there's another thing to consider here, right? I love used guitars. I buy a lot of guitars from the used market, and I'm sure a lot of people watching do that as well. But there's no reason to think that this problem is going to be isolated to only the new guitar market, right? Because as those prices are driven up, more people are going to be, well, I just can't afford a new guitar, so I'm going to buy a used one. There's going to be more people that are driven to the used market. Then as that demand increases, people are going to be asking higher prices for those used guitars. Even guitars that are not particularly valuable, even those ones I'm sure will go up as well. Now there's one little glimmer of hope here, and that is that if you move quickly, you can still find guitars today that are sort of at the old or more traditional prices. That's just because a lot of distributors, they've got their current stock that they bought, a year ago or something like that at the older prices. And they're going to be, in some cases, still selling it at normal prices. But once the old stock runs out and they get new stock in that they've freshly ordered at those higher prices, the higher prices are then going to be passed on to the customers. Here's what this all comes down to. If you only remember one thing from this video, remember this. You can honestly tell your wife that if you buy a new guitar today, you will end up saving a lot of money in the long run. And that's more money that she'll be able to spend on shoes. Everybody wins. All right, guys. So again, I'm sorry to be bringing you guys bad news. I like to keep things positive here on the Guitar Max channel, but this was just too important to not talk about. Let me know what you think of all of this stuff. And guys, as usual, I'm going to have links to the article I was talking about down in the video description below. I will also have links for my new instructional video as well as my social media. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you soon.